the hardest things to do as a parent, to watch your child have to go through a situation where they have to go through this because it will make or break them as an adult.
Mm-hmm. He almost got cut.
I had like 4 different hairstyles and everything. I said, well, golly, pick one and stick with it.
Okay. Golly. Pick one.
Oh, God.
What's up, sis? We've been off focus, man, for a little bit.
You know, we've been on focus. Life been life and child. Tired. Okay? Like, you a whole employee trying to podcast. Mother. I'm a whole mother trying to mother. 2 little ones under what was I think?
What was you thinking?
2 under 10? Bruh. As my 6-year-old would say, bruh.
Kids would be like, bruh.
Bruh. He good for that too. Bruh. Who was you talking to? No, mommy, I'm talking to the game. Bruh.
Whoo, yeah, it's been hard, man. It's really been hard. Work, podcasting, a 1-year-old that's on 1,000 every day now and wants to be held and cuddled all day long. Mama, mama, mama. That's why I hear mama, all day long.
I cannot
Literally.
believe it to me, it's the full circle moments because this time last year she was in the same space Caden's in now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like watching her, they born in the same month, having the same milestones. She was in, like the pictures come up in my memories. I was like, dang, she had a walker this month. All right.
Mhm,
So for him to have a walker this month. Like I'm just like, yo, these full circle moments is just wow. It's crazy. It's crazy. Even now, we doing this and my son texting me. What child, it's never over.
The adult kids, it's the adult kids on my end that be doing.
I don't even look forward to it. I can't. I started to get a gray hair, Lord. I said, oh no.
That a big gray. Every last little bit of it. And
But
still,
I did good though. 40 years. I won 40 years, and now I guess.
I love my gray. That's my wisdom. Embrace it. Embrace it. All right, y'all. So today we are talking about just what we were just talking about. The parts of motherhood no one talks about. Trust me. I know there's some mothers out there, especially those single mothers that really be going through it. Their kids be taking them through there. For real. But we still gotta, show up. Like the crazy part about being a mother is like I think one of the most hardest hats to wear because you have to be so many different things. You gotta be a chef, you gotta be a maid, you gotta be a caretaker, you gotta be a nurse, you gotta be the doctor, you gotta do all these things as a mother. And I don't think people understand while still trying to be you. Go to work, go to school, try to build a better life for them. So it can be really heavy sometimes, y'all. And then times are different. Times with kids now versus back then with my older kids are like it's a whole different dynamic. Gabby has a tablet, y'all. Now, my kids didn't have a tablet when they were coming up. No, we ain't even thought about. Like, we might have been thought about, y'all, but they didn't have it. the phones and the tablets to watch to keep them occupied. You just had to play with them, literally. But Gabby want both. She wants you to play with her and she want that tablet too. She know when her time with that tablet's up. I can't say that about her. But it's just different being a mother now in this era versus back then, a little bit different because now you can't even trust your kids to go to sleepovers. I went to sleepovers back in the day, you know, but my mom knew, the church, they went to my church, she knew them. But it doesn't even matter if you know the people now. You can know these people for 3, 4 years and think that their parents are good and they got the best interest for your kids, and then your kid don't come back. So you got to be careful now. Like things are just different. Back then, you had people that you can trust, people that you can depend on when it comes to your kids. I ain't leave mine with nobody. Who? Hmm.
I don't
Miss-
even want my baby to go to daycare.
I don't. But unfortunately, that's what has to happen real soon. Like it has to happen because in order for her to have a better life, that's what has to happen. Sadly, and it's gonna be hard for not only her, it's gonna be hard for me too.
I wonder who's gonna cry.
I'm gonna cry.
Who no, who else? Yeah, I ain't even talking about you because I already know you gonna cry. You always cry. I wonder who else gonna cry. Is she gonna cry? She probably gonna cry because y'all are so attached at the hip. It's not even funny.
Yeah, yeah, man. Listen, yo, whew, that girl love me and I love her, and that's just real. Like if I leave for a few minutes and come back, she like I didn't just leave. Like I be gone for a minute. So I already know.
Ever.
I told them people at daycare. I said, please hug me after I leave my baby.
Not
It's
hug
gonna be
you.
hard. It's gonna be hard for me.
Forget hug her, hug you. I'm done.
But y'all, our first question up, Lord, it's covered off.
You
It's
can't
covered.
even give me your face. See,
It's
that's what I'm
covered
talking
my
about.
face. Golly, do me wrong, God.
You do
So,
yourself wrong.
so what forms of resentment surprise you towards your partner, your baby, or your old life, or even yourself? Mm, that deep. I'm gonna let you go first on that one. I ain't playing
You
with that
might need to
question.
keep the question because I gotta. That's
I,
loaded.
I ain't finna play with that question.
You, we might have to switch boxes because you're a little lower than me, so it might not cover my face.
Hold on.
Um,
Go ahead.
she said, "Hold, please." So, what forms of resentment surprise you towards your partner, your baby, your old life, or even yourself? Um, Towards my partner, the level of resentment, um, they get to escape. They get to escape. They get to go out and go to work. They get to take a break.
hmm
Um, Even though you are working, you still get a scheduled break. You still get a scheduled lunch. You get
hmm
that time that you can have, that you can look forward to yourself, as opposed to when you're home. It's kind of like you're not on your schedule, you're on the child's schedule. So if the child goes to sleep, like now I'm in the stage where he's taking 30-minute naps. So what I'm gonna do in 30 minutes? By the time I put him down, 30 minutes is over. If anybody who's had a job, that 30-minute break go by the quickest because it don't start until well, it starts when you clock out, right? So when he go to sleep, that's when that 30 minutes start. But you gotta wait until he gets sleep to lay him down. So by then we 15 minutes in. What am I supposed to do in 15 minutes? Go to the bathroom, wash some dishes. By that time he back up. So it's like the resentment for the partner becomes you get to go out, you get to escape, you get to, you know what I mean? For myself, just not being able to do the things that I wanted to do, set myself up maybe financially a little better before having to take this reset, just being in a situation where um if I would have done this prior, then I would have been a little more prepared because when you have a child, everybody don't have a village. Everybody's not able to just um, drop the kid off so you can go back to work and do the things and that or pay for daycare or whatever the case may be. So sometimes you have to be out of work for a while. And even if you do go back to work, you will never go back to work the same way you was prior to this child, because now your schedule is totally dependent on the child's schedule. Every job that you take has to go around this child's schedule. So where you was getting 50 and 11 jobs, you can't anymore. That's just like if you was buying a car, like I said before, and you put in all the specs and stuff that you want. You went from 100 search to now narrow down to 15. And even that, you still might not find the one, because you have to find the right one for your specific need in the moment. And that causes a lot of resentment, because it's like, yo, like, this is the stuff nobody tells you, like, then with the kids, just the sleeping schedule, like, you want to be able to go to sleep when you're tired, but you can't. The baby might want to go to sleep because they're tired, but they can't. So it's like, you gotta kind of just like deal with this new normal. And that's the most frustratingest part, especially when you're an analytical person, especially when you like to have control over things. You are not in control. You have to release or relinquish control to figure these things out in order to regain control, if that makes sense.
Look, whew, I don't know if it would be resentment, more or less like a lack of understanding, maybe, because for a while, y'all, like the first year I was home, with Gabby, the first year, and Monday through Friday, my wife, she works Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. So when 5 o'clock hit, when it hit and you realize it's that time, you be like, yes, I can finally, do some things that I need to do for the day or I didn't get to do today. It was easier when Gabby was younger to me. Now that she's older and she's moving, she's walking, she's talking, it's a little bit more difficult now to me, because she wants to either play, number one, or she wants me to, put her on her tablet. She'll sit in her chair for a little bit and watch her tablet. She's feeding herself now. So I can fix her plate and she actually feeds herself. So, okay, yeah. But naps, who? Did you at least you get that 30 minutes, sis? Who? The only way I can get anything, like the other day, I laid down with her. We went upstairs. I knew she was sleepy. Went upstairs and I laid down with her, and guess what ended up happening? I went to sleep too. So what was the point of the situation? Because she went to sleep, but I went to sleep too. So the time that I could have been doing something was gone because I went to sleep too because I was tired. And by the time I got up and realized, wait a minute, I went to sleep, come downstairs to try to do something. Who comes running on down here about 15, 20 minutes later? Gabby. So there's no time for you to like clean up. There's no time for you to like even have self care. Like getting dressed for the day is like a hit or miss sometimes, y'all. Like it's crazy. Like if I don't get it at the very beginning of the day, it ain't happening until after 5 o'clock. Like, and that's sad.
And that's if
Simple
you don't
things
even
is
have to go
self
to
care.
work.
Right. Because then it's a rush thing. Then I got to go shower real quick, get dressed for work. Boom, I'm gone. No time to sit down and watch TV. No time to listen to music. No time to really do anything. And then, okay, the time that I do have, I'm like, okay, I got a podcast. I got to do episodes. I got to do this. I got to do that. So that's what the time I'm using for. Instead of me using it for the self care things, I'm doing podcasting things. So I wouldn't say more or less resentment, but the fact that, okay, I'm like, babe, you go to work 9 to 5. You don't have to deal with anything for 8 hours.
Quiet.
Like, and then you come home and you're tired, you want to lay down and everything. So you got the last little part of the night to deal with it. And technically, she's so attached to me, she's still gonna be with me, running back and forth. So let's just keep it 100. Like, So I wouldn't say resentment. It's more like when I work. Like right now, y'all, I'm on a little leave. I'm going in here and there. But while I was full speed working, it was like it's crazy to feel like that's a break. But that's really what it is. Like it's really a break away from your home life, away from being a mother 100% of the time. So that's really a break. Crazy though. But then I look at it like this too. I mean, no resentment for the baby, no resentment for the old life, and not even really myself because I'm enjoying it. I enjoy being Gabby's mother. I enjoy her whole entire life. That's my little broke best friend. So I just really feel like I would have been in maybe a different setting in my life. Like at this point, I wanted to have bought another house at this point, maybe. Um, had a little bit more finances, maybe at this point, and maybe had some land purchased at this point. A certain place you really want to be where you get to certain milestones in your life. Like when you hit 30, you be like, all right, at 30, I'm gonna be done, graduate from college. I'm gonna have this in the bank. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. This is all without having kids, though. We making these plans. We're not thinking about the kid aspect. Then when you hit 40, you be like, dang, by now I should have my life together. But sometimes it takes a long time. I don't say kids stop you from doing what you're doing, but they do delay the process. They delay it. It makes it a little bit more complicated because while you're at work, you got to be able to let your child go somewhere where you can trust that they're there. While you're in school, you got to do the same thing. So it's like it slows you down for a moment until they can go to school. And then even when they get in school, you got to figure out a work schedule that's going to work with your schedule of them going to school and getting out of school. It's always layers and layers of things to
Yeah.
think about, as a parent, like that you don't think about initially. All you think about is that moment in time. Oh, it's good and da da da, whatever. And then out pops, this little one, and you're like, oh, you're here. I love you. And then about 6 months later, you're like, how am I doing this? Why did I do this? When did I do this? You start questioning everything about your life. You're like,
I
God.
know when. I just don't understand why.
You were like, God, did you really want me to be the chosen one? What? You chose me?
Take me off the list.
And then eventually, time, I hate to say it, it gets easier, y'all. It gets easier. Because I think I got two adult children. Nah, I'll take that back. It gets easier up to a certain point. But when they hit that milestone of high school, everything start plummeting right back down because now they think they're grown, they're smelling themselves, and now you're suddenly not who they favorite person to be around. And then they hit the adulthood, and then now you're the person they're running to every 5 seconds because they need something or they want something or
I wouldn't say it gets easier. I would say it gets different
it's different
because
and hard.
when you think about a baby, it's frustrating because you don't know what they want.
Right,
You
right.
got to play guessing games, and it's like kind of like
Mhm,
trying to map out a Rubik's cube. And then when they turn to Sears age, like 6 and 7, they talk too much,
mhm, mhm.
and then you know what's going on, and it's like, okay, now you got to fix it.
Right.
So you have the capacity to fix it and change lives and be the superhero. But then when they get Nicholas and Monty's age, they still tell you what's going on, but you're not able to fix it because, well, you shouldn't be able to fix it. You shouldn't fix it because you have to give them room to make those mistakes so they can grow up, those growing pains, and they can grow and mature and develop. So it's hard, it's different because it's like, I can fix it when you're a baby, but I don't know how.
Mhm.
I can fix it when you're young.
But I can't.
I'm the man and I'm the woman.
Mhm.
I can fix it when you older, but I'm not. And that's the hardest because you always want to try to protect your children from something that's just a natural ability. You always want to try to protect your children from something that will hurt them or harm them or whatever. But
Mhm.
certain things they have to go through in order to be successful. That's just like that movie. I always talk about it. That part in Ray where he was going blind, and the mother had to sit there and let him fall.
Hard.
and figure it out. Because if she didn't, he would never be able to take care of himself on his own as a grown man.
But
And
that's
that
hard.
is one of the hardest things to do as a parent, to watch your child have to go through a situation where they have to go through this because it will make or break them as an adult.
hmm But you said, I can fix it when they're grown, but I'm not. No, it's not even about I'm not. It's about sometimes you can't. Like that's just like they get in some kind of trouble and you run up there, you try to, bail them out, and they tell you, oh, you need X amount of money to get them out, and you don't have it. So sometimes you just can't bail them out. Now I've been that parent, my mom always told me, oh, you stand by your kids, you be there for your kids, da da da. But that can really wear on your heart because eventually you're like, I can't be their God. They gotta have a moment in their lives where they go to God and say, hey, can you help me through this day? Can you help me through this situation? Because what if I'm gone? They got to have somebody to turn to. And I'm slowly learning to not say much anymore and to let them bump their head like when they was a kid or touch that stove that was hot so they can learn the lessons they need to learn. And that in itself is hard. It really is hard to do that. Honestly, y'all. I thought that, raising my kids at the young age was the hardest part. But the older they get, the harder it get for me. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. The harder it gets. All right, y'all. So the next question is, what part of the visible labor of motherhood hit you the hardest once you were living it? Labor.
You just touched on that.
Yeah.
The fact of having them, watching them have to go through something you can't protect them from. That is the absolute worst. Like my oldest, watching him have to say goodbye to his father. I couldn't protect him from that. I couldn't shield him from that. I couldn't shield him from being the one that found his father unresponsive. I couldn't shield him from being the one to close the casket down on his father, and seeing him being um just what's the word, being rolled it down into the ground. I couldn't shield him from that. I can't shield him from how he would feel every year on his birthday or Father's Day or just a random Tuesday when he wants to talk to a man. I can't shield him from that. And that's the hardest thing, that emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, that's the hardest thing ever for a parent to have to go through, to watch your child go through something that you cannot protect them from. Like I can put something on your boo boo if it's visible, but that's on the inside. I can't fix that. And that's what, like you said, in regards to God, you have to teach them early that there's just some things in life that are tangible we can't touch. We could do the tangible things, but the things on the inside, God has to do.
Yes. Yes. You're right though. Whew. There's things, but you know what? Like the old folks used to say, keep living and buying all these things that I didn't understand what they were talking about. But you really do have to go through life in order to learn the lessons that you need to learn. And some lessons you cannot teach your children. You can tell them all day long till you blue in your face that, hey, I went through this too. And I did this and I did that. But are they gonna listen? No. They're gonna still go through it and get that bruise or that knot on their head because they're hard headed, and then come back around to tell you that, you know what, mom, you was right. That to me is the hardest thing for me because I can tell my children things, my adult children. I can tell them things like, hey, don't buy that car. I think that's not a good deal. The car payment is too high. It sound raggedy, or whatever the case may be. They go right and buy that raggedy car and pay that $500 car payment and then risk losing it instead of listening from the jump at what mama says. Moms to me are never gonna lead you the wrong way, and we gotta understand that. Like, I'm gonna say some moms. Let me dial back. Some moms aren't gonna lead you the wrong way. They're gonna tell you things, sometimes to guide you along the way, and sometimes they're gonna fuss at you. Sometimes they're gonna try to control your life. Yeah, they're gonna do that. But you have to have your own discernment in your life and say, you know what, this is the right thing to do. And then use some of that wisdom that you're getting from your parents to make your own decisions. Because had I had listened to a little bit of, a little bit of this and a little bit of that back then and made a decision, I probably would have made my life probably be in a different direction right now, honestly. And not saying that parents are always right. So don't make it seem like I'm saying they're always right, because there are times they are wrong. But I do feel like they have your best interests at heart when they do the things that they do. And you're only gonna know those kind of things unless you go through motherhood yourself. Because every kid is different. Every kid is different. Every adult child you have is gonna be different. My kids are like night and day. Literally like night and day. Monty, she'll come to me and ask me for advice. Nichols, he'll do the same. But Nichols gonna do what Nichols gonna do. And then he'll come back later and be like, yeah, mama, you was right, but I had to go through it. I'm like you. Because I did. I had to go through my things in order to learn my lessons the hard way though. But I'm trying to teach them not to go through things the hard way when you can just take the moment to listen to your mama. Sometimes I don't know everything, but whatever I don't know, I'll try to figure it out for the best interest of them at the end of the day. But yeah,
You know
y'all.
what? I've learned that our job is not to force things on people, it's to plant seeds. And then we have to pray on the things so the seeds can be watered. And hopefully it'll blossom into something that they will remember or that will shade them like a tree, eventually. Um, and a lot of the times too, the older generation, our parents and things like that, they just told us, don't do this. They never broke it down as to why they said a thing. It was always what we should or should not do. So for me, because I'm like Nicholas, I gotta, you tell me what, okay, the stove hot, mm, let me see for myself. Let me touch it. And then if it burned me, you was right. That damn thing was hot. So now that I have kids, I'll say the stove is hot. To me, you could touch it if you want to, but one or two things is gonna happen. So now I'm giving you a choice. I'm planting a seed. I'm telling you the stove is hot to me. Because it might not be hot to you. You might have an immune that's a little better than mine. You might. And I'm telling you, for me, it's hot. It's either gonna burn you or it's not gonna burn you. But it's up to you to make the choice. It burnt me, but it might not burn you. So this is the consequences of said action. And that's how I raised my son because listen, I ain't got time. I got two more behind the oldest, and I don't want all these gray hairs before 45. You know what I'm saying? So I can't, I can only tell you what I know, but we live in a different day and we live in a different time. But I promise you, everything I'm telling you, it's going to replay. It might
Mhm.
not replay right now, but it's going to replay later. And it's going to come in a moment of quietness. And you're going to be like, yo, I remember my mother telling me that. Because there's so many times, especially like you said, when you turn a parent, so many things my mother done told me. I sat here and I bust out laughing because I'm like, yo, my mom said that joke. And it's I'll hear or I'll repeat something she told me to my kid and I'll bust out laughing. And they look at me like, what's up with her? It's just amazing them full circle moments. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing how that happens. That's why I said if you plant the right seed, it'll eventually take root. Especially like that's why they say train a child up in the way that they should go. Because even if they depart from it, they're gonna always come back. Usually when a person has gone to
Mhm.
church all their life, they'll
Mhm.
have their moment when they out there in the world and they living life and it's fun. But God
Mhm.
gonna reel them back eventually.
Mhm.
Some it's shorter time outside than others, but eventually, because that's the right type of seed. It'll take root eventually.
See, y'all, we be talking, y'all. We be hitting on all our questions, and we wonder why we ain't got nothing left. Cause we be hitting them. We already talked about, the hardest part about navigating work and motherhood, and that nobody talked about. We talked about that. Um, Now we didn't talk about this. Why moms feel they can't admit they're struggling. That's a good one. Let me tell you something. Growing up in, I say, like the old school era with parenting, you were taught to carry the load, like what won't kill you make you stronger type thing. And as a mother, you had to make sure that everything, and I mean everything, was done. That's the kind of mindset I grew up on. Like I had to be the superwoman for my kids. Like I had to make sure that they had whatever they had when they had it. If things came up, I had to be the one to do it. So I feel like that's what makes it hard for you to admit that you're struggling. And then the villages don't exist anymore. Who you gonna tell that you're struggling to? Who? God. Because listen, back in my day, I had mentors, I had church members, I had teachers that were also my church members and my mentors. It was like sis said, a full circle of things. I had people like that in my life that truly loved me and would watch out for me. I could go to sleepovers with my friends and know that I was going back home safely to my mom. So things were just different. You could even leave your doors open back then because it was safe on my street. But my mom didn't do that. But I'm just saying, like, it was that safe back then where you can walk outside and know that nothing's gonna happen. But now times are so much different that mothers are not like mothers were then either. Back in the day, mothers didn't get so defensive about if somebody if Sarah came up to them and said your child was acting up in school or acting up in Sunday school, the mother didn't jump off the handle and get mad. The mothers like had a conversation with Sarah about the situation and then went home and had a conversation with their child about the situation. And if need be, they disciplined their child because of what Sarah said. But now you can't tell Sarah, well, hey, your kid, was acting up in school or whatever the case may be. You tell the parent that or whatever the case may be. They didn't go off on you because for one, they don't think their kid can do no wrong. Number one. That's number one. And off gate, they're in defensive mode of defending their child. And they said it's Sarah wrong, not the child. So you have to be careful. But you had people back in the day that watched out for you. I had this neighbor, y'all. Let me tell you about it. God bless his soul. I love him to death to this day. Didn't understand it until now. He lived right across the street from me. Y'all, I was being grown. I was, you know what I'm saying? I was being grown. But that wasn't his business. But but he was like the watchdog of the neighborhood, literally. He saw everything coming in, everything going out. If somebody went through my window, through my door, he knew it. And he told on me too. But I used to be mad about it. I was like, why you always telling my mom everything that's going on with me? I'm trying to sneak my mom at work. Da, da. But then when his presence was gone, when the neighborhood started to shift and I got older, I understood why he did what he did. He was protecting the neighborhood. He was keeping a lot of things out of the neighborhood. People being safe. And me being a child thinking, oh, he always telling what I'm doing. And that wasn't really it. He just wanted to make sure I was safe. So I said all that to say that even people in your neighbor ain't the same. You can't even go and borrow a cup of sugar from your neighbor nowadays. Like it's not that dynamic. You can't take them a pie that you cooked in your kitchen like you used to do back in the day. Not that kind of situation now. But I just feel like, I never really admitted I was struggling in any type of way as a mother because I felt like I had to carry the world on my shoulder anyway, so nobody wouldn't care. It was my job. I had to make everything happen. You know? That's how I look at it. That's my take on that one right there. Because every time I was even vulnerable with saying I was struggling, it was a problem. You know? All right, y'all. I can say a lot on that subject right there. I'm gonna leave that one alone though.
I was gonna say kind of the same thing. I feel like we can't admit that we're struggling because we're the only ones that can get us out the mud. A lot of the times we are in relationships with people that are not as stable as we are. A lot of the times we are single parents and we don't have anybody to lean on to help us um, remove the struggle. A lot of the times we have chosen partners that causes us to be in that struggle. So who are we going to talk to? And then a lot of the times we have villages, but our villages are also struggling. So we're just in a different day and a different time where if we do have the village is struggling as well. And if we don't have the village, we are the village. And it's only up to us to get us out of the struggle. So we can't, you know, tangibly ask for somebody. We can pray till we blue in the face, but faith without works is dead. So we can believe that we're going to get out of this thing, but we have to physically get out of the thing. And we might not have the resources in that moment to get us out. So what is sitting there talking about it? You know, the older folks will say, don't cry over spilled milk. We have that mentality too, where I can't cry about it. I can't do this. I just got to figure it out. And then once I figure it out, then I'll be able to talk about it. But by then, you're so glad you out of it, you don't even want to talk about it. And so it's
Oh,
like
okay.
I don't even want to go into my past because I'm out of that. I'm healed from that. Like I don't dwell on that. But that's the thing that social media is supposed to be for. These podcasts and different things like that. You're supposed to be able to show people the process. We always show people the beginning and then the end and never the middle. And there's a lot of people that's right now in the middle of things and they don't see a way out because they only see a person's like the reels of the person, the highlight reels. And people only want to highlight the good parts. They never want to highlight the process. And that's why we have these platforms because these platforms are supposed to help encourage people through the process. The people that are struggling, we are supposed to be the bridge to help them. Listen, you're struggling, listen to this. You're struggling, let me connect you with this person. You know, like we're supposed to make it easier for those people who don't have those villages. Let me put you with another person who don't have a village and y'all start a village together. But because people are so untrustworthy, it's hard to really want to trust the fact that this person really gonna help me for real, or is this person gonna throw this in my face later, or is this person gonna hurt me or unalive my kids or whatever? Like there's so many bad seeds that when a good seed comes around, it looks skeptical.
Right, right. But I feel like I sound like I'm old when I say this, y'all. But I do feel like I'm moving into the matriarch phase. And when you feel like you're moving, I feel like I'm training for that because I feel like once my mom leaves this world, like I feel like I'm the next one that has to take into her footsteps and like do the Sunday dinners. Cause like my Aunt Weeze, man, man, I miss her. She used to cook dinner every single Sunday, and my church was like right up the street from the church, right? So I would walk after church. My mom, was a trustee in the church, so she had to count money. So I would walk up the street to my Aunt Wee's house and eat dinner. By the time my mama get there, I be there and have me a good dinner and sat down. I had a good conversation too with my Aunt Wee's. So I just miss those type of things because when you had those older people in your life, whether it's advice or wisdom, because Aunt Wee's one thing about her, now she gonna curse your butt out. And she gonna give it the real to you. She gonna give it to you the way you need it. She not gonna sugarcoat nothing. And that's what I loved about her. She kept it real with me. And I think we need those type of people in our villages still today, not only as children, but adults too. Because a lot of times people really do walk around like they're stepping on eggshells and don't tell people how they really feel for the sake of their feelings. Bump all that. You gotta be able to have people in your corner that truly love you for you, and it's gonna tell you, hey, your poop stink. It really stank today. You need to do something about that. Like, and if you ain't got them kind of people in your life, man, you need to reevaluate your circle. And I used to want people around me just because. But now I want people around me that's gonna keep it real with me. I want people around me that's not only I can pour into, but they can pour into me too. It's the same thing because we all be running around here on empty. Empty for no doggone reason sometimes. And a lot of people don't even know that your cup is half full or it's on empty. They don't even know what you going through in real life. Because we all wearing masks. Let's just be real. We're wearing these masks and we're walking around like we're doing good. Oh, how you doing? Fine. No, you're not. But people really don't want to know either. If I really was gonna be transparent, you asked me how I was doing, and I just load that stuff on you. You'll be mad at me when that conversation over. Don't ask me how I'm doing unless you really want to know now. For real.
Never ask again.
They just throw their hand up and wave.
They wouldn't even wait. They'll turn around. As soon as they use, I love that meme of the baby when he coming out and he make that face and he try to turn around. They'll do one of those.
But it's just we need villages back. Somebody please bring them back. Like, because you have to carry the tradition on and on and on and on. Like when my Aunt Weeze passed away, my grandmother passed away. It just seems like everything just came to a halt. No more family gatherings. No more, that's how I knew who family was because of my grandmother, my grandfather, my Aunt Weeze. I would have known that they were kin to me if it wasn't for them. So we need to bring all that back because that makes life easier when family can be family and be there for one another. And not only that, have the villages on top of that because people need people. And I say that all the time. People need people. All right, y'all. So our last question. Our last question, y'all. If you could go back, what truth would you whisper to the woman you were before motherhood? You gonna go first? You gonna do the closing? Or I'm gonna do the closing. Yeah.
I'll close because you open.
Well, man, that's kind of loaded, y'all. That's a little deep right there. If I can go back in time, it's a lot of things I would tell myself about myself. Because look here, you need a beating, girl. Like for real, like I went through a lot, got through a lot, went through some unnecessary stuff that I shouldn't have done. I
Not
went,
beating.
yeah, tell her, cause she know better. Like this is a lot of things that she did that she should not have done. It's a lot of relationships she shouldn't have been in. It's a lot of friendships that she should have never did. Been a part of. It's a lot of things that girl did, and I'm looking back at her now, like, what was you thinking about? Like, even dating certain people, even just giving the time of the day to certain people. Girl, what was you thinking about? Like, why did you even do the things that you did? For real, pop her. But I would tell her though, for real though, y'all, that you are enough. You are enough. And when you step into whatever room you step into, know who you are. Because for a while, y'all, I didn't know that. I knew my name, but I didn't know who I was. Like, there's a big difference in knowing your name and knowing who you are. And not in a conceited way, but in a way where you know your worth. It's a whole different thing. You got to know your worth, and you got to love yourself for real. That is so cliche, but it's true. You do have to love yourself before you can love anybody else in this world, even your children. You got to love you and the skin that you're in, because you really can't truly give somebody else a part of you or love if you don't love yourself. But I would tell her you are enough. You are loved. Even if it's not by the human in the human form, God loves you. And that is enough. That really is enough. If God loves you enough to wake you up every single day, because really, truthfully, y'all, he really don't have to do that, right? He don't have to wake us up. He don't have to say, let me turn this alarm on for Nikki today and get her out this bed. He don't have to do that. He can be like, you know what? She fumbled so and so yesterday. I'm just going, nah, we gonna let her later because she should have did what she did yesterday. You know how many times we go through our days and we do people wrong, and God still be like, all right, I'm gonna give you another shot at this life, this thing called life. Even though you did what you did yesterday, I'm gonna give you this day to make it right. Now, if you don't make it right before the end of the day, that's it. But it's just so many things I would whisper, and don't start so early. I started at 15, y'all. I don't know what I had. I didn't know what I was thinking about, y'all, for real. Like that girl was just doing too much. Like I just don't understand her. Like, what was you thinking about, girl? Like 15 and pregnant? What was you doing? Now, granted, I do feel like in that moment in my life, I felt like I needed my son. My father had just passed away, and 2 weeks after we buried him, I found I was pregnant with my son. So I just really feel like that was my angel coming to me to help me because I was broken. I was sad. I was depressed every day. I didn't want to be here either. And it seems like, at that moment, Nicholas gave me a fresh breath of air. Like I was just like, yes, somebody loved me because I didn't love myself. So my children actually taught me to love me because for so many years, I didn't love myself. I didn't even like how I looked. I couldn't even look in the mirror. So I do feel like everything in your life happens for a reason. I needed Nicholas then, and I needed Monty when she came. Because in both seasons, I was dealing with something. I was either dealing with a loss of somebody, or I was dealing with some kind of thing that was going to take me out of here. Depression is real. Mental health is real. And I'm just so glad that God gave them life to give me life. And now here I have Gabby to give me more life because I need her too. She serves her purpose too. So yeah, if I can whisper, I wouldn't whisper. I would yell at her, "Girl, what was you doing with yourself? Like for real? Like, come on, man." That's what I would say.
For me, I would tell myself love is shown more than said, because everybody that says they love you don't show you. And love should be felt. Love is an action word, and love starts with you. So the better you treat yourself, the better others will treat you. And if you don't love yourself, nobody else is going to love you. And you cannot go into well, you shouldn't go into situations looking for love if you have not given it to yourself first, because anybody's interpretation of love you'll take because you don't know what it is to begin with. So I would definitely tell myself, look for the actions, open your eyes and close your ears.
And don't believe everything you hear or see either. And believe
Yeah, because
half.
even people now, they'll do things, like that, like love bomb you. They'll do things and be there, and the whole time don't even have your best interest at heart. The whole time and be living a whole nother life, and you
They don't
thinking
even
they
like
love
you.
you. Right. So it's like at the end of the day, that's why I said it all starts from you.
Mhm.
Because when you love yourself enough, even if the person that you want to love you back treat you a certain way, you'll love yourself enough to walk away. When you don't love yourself the way you should, tolerate stuff longer than you're supposed to.
It's a everyday battle though, y'all. It really is to love yourself though, because you have some days where you just don't. You feel like you're just not doing what you need to do in your life. Like I had them days still where I just don't feel like I'm enough. Because every day I feel like I gotta work harder and harder to be better. And that's all because of the circle that you have around you, the people that you think that supposed to pour into you and encourage you or not. So you feel like, well, dang, they over here with so and so, so maybe I ain't doing enough. So you get in your own head sometimes, but it's all right. Just snap back. snap back because we got this. It's gonna be a forever situation where you're finding yourself, and sometimes some people don't find themselves. But as always, y'all, we are healing
Right
hearts,
here.
inspiring change. Later,
Later.
everybody.